Aren't you embarrassed that you haven't become a full-time employee at your age? My brother, who came to the convenience store where I worked, said in a disgusted voice. No, I'm good with just the way it is. My brother was extremely surprised by what I said. My name is Kevin. After I graduated from high school, I wanted to find a job. But due to the recent economic downturn, I couldn't find one and ended up working part-time at a nearby convenience store. I used to take care of all household chores at home since my mother had passed away early and my father had to work. I actually enjoyed doing housework, and if I stayed at my parents' home, I would never have any problems with food, clothing, and a place to live. My boss at work was a very good person, and the customers were also nice, so I was very satisfied with my life. However, there was someone who was not very happy with my way of life. Are you really okay with working at a convenience store as a part-timer? Aren't you embarrassed? It's my older brother who says that, with a look of exasperation. He works for a so-called elite company really close to here. He comes to this convenience store where I work during his lunch break or after work to give me that kind of lecture, which has become his daily routine. Well, there was no other place to work, so I had no choice, right? That's why I had told you that you could go to university so many times. I don't particularly like studying. I wanted to start working instead of going to university. If the economy had been a little better, I might have been able to get a job at a company. You know what? Even in my time, it was tough to get a job because it was the employment ice age. But I still managed to survive that era. And yet you, my brother let out a deliberate sigh and glanced over at me. Sorry, there are people waiting to pay behind you, so let's talk about it later. Hey, I'm talking about something important, so listen properly. If you consider the location and people around us, I will listen to you properly. There was a line for me behind my brother. Though he looked a little disappointed upon seeing it, he stepped away from the checkout counter. One of the customers who had been waiting behind him gave him a slight glare and placed their items on the counter. While thinking to myself, this is really troublesome. I apologized to the customer for keeping him waiting. My brother, Jason, is excellent in his studies and capable. Apparently, he was called a child prodigy when he was young. By the way, since there is a significant age difference of over 16 years, I don't know what he was like when he was a student, but I heard that he easily passed the entrance exam for an elite university that is difficult to get into, and he continued to achieve excellent grades while in school. After he graduated, he got a job at a top-tier company and is still working there. As my brother mentioned earlier, when he was job hunting, it was during the so-called employment ice age. At that time, I was still in elementary school, and also, he wasn't living with us, so I didn't quite understand the struggles my brother was going through. But I heard he worked very hard to get hired at his current company. I think he said that he had about 100 interviews and none of them hired him. Well, I don't know if it's true or not. Thank you very much. When there were no more customers left at the cash register, my brother approached me again and started talking. Listen up. You should pay attention to the stories of people like me who have struggled. You always had some weak points since you were young, and even though you went to cram school to study, your grades didn't improve. I don't understand why our abilities are so different, even though we are siblings. Even if siblings are born from the same parents, it's not always certain that they will inherit the same DNA. If there were no differences in genes, humans would actually be more prone to extinction. That's why I think there should be differences between you and me. When I calmly expressed my thoughts in response to his usual lecture, my brother looked amazed and he stared at me. What a strange way of thinking. I really don't understand you when it comes to things like this. And besides, don't shift the point of the conversation in the first place. I'm not talking about genetic differences, and I'm telling you that I want you to make an effort to acquire common sense and become a full-time employee. I don't want to be told that by a soon-to-be useless employee who lectures me while I'm working. Hey, who said I'm soon-to-be useless employee? Besides, how can you say that to your older brother? I was born way before you. He just told me not to shift the point of the conversation, but now he's focusing on something not important and making irrelevant comments. Please don't make noise as it may inconvenience the customers. I thought we wouldn't get anywhere with this, so I said loudly while looking at a customer who just came in. A man who had been reading a magazine while standing stood up and looked over, wondering what was going on. I just remembered that I had something to do, so I'm going home now. Good luck with your work. I waved goodbye to my brother as he hurriedly left the register. Since our mother passed away, my brother had become somewhat overprotective of me, perhaps due to his innate sense of responsibility. However, he had never been the type to nag and lecture me as he was doing now. Even when I got a part-time job at the convenience store, he expressed concern, but didn't persistently bring it up like this. It was only after my brother was transferred to a branch office near this convenience store that he became like this. And the overly sensitive reaction he had when I mentioned soon-to-be useless employee earlier, I said without much thought just to make him go back to work quickly. But now I'm starting to wonder if my brother really is a candidate for an employee with no real work. And come to think of it, he couldn't possibly spend so much time in this convenience store if it really was his lunch break. If I remember back in the day when my brother still lived with us, before he went to college, he was smart and impressively tall, and I was proud of him. If there's anything else you don't understand, I'll teach you. Yep. He kindly taught me how to read and write, and also addition and subtraction. Jason, I want to learn how to ride a bicycle without training wheels. All right, I'll help you, Kevin. Shall we practice riding bikes together? He said I practiced hard with my brother until I was able to ride a bicycle without training wheels. And that's a good memory. On that day, after finishing my part-time job, I went home and prepared dinner as usual and had a meal with my father. After I finished the usual housework, I went back to my own room. Admittedly, I didn't go to college and I have a lower education level than my brother. When my brother told me that he would pay for my tuition so I should go to college, I didn't have the academic ability or the curiosity to pursue it. Even if I had followed my brother's advice and attended a less prestigious university, I probably would have had a rotten time there. Just like my brother right now. Was he transferred here because he wasn't good at his job at all? I don't know the details, but the relocation may have been a demotion rather than a promotion. As I typed on the keyboard in front of my computer, I suddenly thought about that. By the way, this computer in front of me was also a gift from my brother for my high school graduation. Kevin, you are good with computers, right? He said, and he gave me something I couldn't afford back then as a gift. Since I gave you a computer as a gift, make the most out of it and study hard like I did. My brother often said that. He's the type who's willing to put in effort. I'm sure he's working hard, even at his current work. But just like I didn't go to college, people have environments that fit and environments that don't. My brother probably turned into such a preachy old man because he's in an unsuitable environment. He doesn't seem to mind, but he should do something about his beer belly caused by obesity. I've heard that he has started eating a lot of sweets since he began working. I wonder if he's getting stressed. If his work is stressing him out, then he should just quit his job. An unsuitable environment will deteriorate the person in that environment. Even if they have abilities, they won't be able to demonstrate their power and will lose confidence as they are called incompetent by those around them. I'm sure my brother is fully immersed in such an environment. What can I do to help him? But all I can do is use the cash register machine at the convenience store and do a few things on the computer. Can someone like me really save my brother? Unlike an ordinary person like me, my brother has always been someone with incredible abilities. I went to sleep that night, troubled and unsure of what to do. The next day. Are you properly saving money? Today again, just like any other day, my brother kept bothering me at the register. He sends money to our family every month, and my father asked me to thank him for this month's contribution. However, when I conveyed the message, he unexpectedly started to lecture me. Today, I made sure to carefully consider the content of our conversation so that it wouldn't turn into a sermon. By the way, I also help with the living expenses at home. You're different from me, and you're not stable financially since you're just a part-timer. So make sure to save money properly. I'm sorry, but talking about money is a private matter. I don't feel comfortable to talk about it even with you. Are you saying that because you don't want to show me your savings account book? My brother grinned, as if he'd been waiting for this moment. I hope he didn't bring his savings passbook just to get revenge on me because I said soon-to-be useless employee the other day. But my bad prediction turned out to be correct. My older brother took out a savings passbook from the inner pocket of his suit in an exaggerated manner and showed it off with a proud expression. Look, I have $60,000 in savings. It might be lower compared to my colleagues and superiors, but it's more than enough for emergencies, don't you think? I could only smile wryly at my brother, who was grinning triumphantly, and then perhaps he misunderstood my reaction, so he grinned even more. Well, it's probably impossible for you to save up this much, but like me, it's important to plan for the future properly. I got it. I'll show you my balance too. I interrupted my brother, who was going to keep talking, and took out my phone from my pocket to show my brother my savings account balance on the online banking app. I guess you have a few $100s at most. What? $200,000? Sir, you are being too loud. I took away my phone from my brother while I was gesturing to be quiet to him, who was in shock. There were relatively few customers today, but it was embarrassing that he was talking about money in such a loud voice. My brother seemed to have calmed down a little, but he still seemed confused. He leaned over the counter. How did you get that money? You didn't get involved in a robbery or any other crimes, did you? Come to think of it, you used to enjoy doing something on computers. Please tell me that you didn't use someone else's account for illegal purposes. No way. I wouldn't do something like that. At least imagine something like winning the lottery instead. But you would never buy a lottery ticket, would you? And even if you were to win such a large sum of money, you wouldn't be able to keep quiet about it, would you? That might certainly be true, as expected of my brother. He knows me well. I couldn't help but laugh, but my brother didn't seem to care and continued to question me with a serious expression. How did you save up so much money when you only worked at a convenience store? It was a different tone from the one he used for preaching. It was a voice that was genuinely concerned about me, just like the old days. I felt that it would be okay even if I told him the truth, so I decided to tell him honestly. This money was earned from profits in cryptocurrency. When I first bought it, the amount wasn't that significant. But as the value kept increasing, I bought more and more until it became a large sum. I sold it quickly before it dropped again. I never knew you had such talent. I was surprised too, but studying cryptocurrencies was actually quite fun, and I got hooked on it. Before I knew it, this happened. While listening to me talk, my older brother groaned in disbelief and then said, "So, I actually have a proposal for you." "What is it?" "Why don't you start a business that you've always wanted to do as a side job? Jason, what? If you're not in a suitable environment, then you should create a suitable environment for yourself. Even if it is difficult to create, you should be able to at least find another environment. You said before that your current company allows you to have a side job, right? Why don't you try getting permission and give it a try? Why would I ever do such a thing? Do you not want to graduate from being a soon-to-be useless employee? My brother fell silent as if I said exactly what he was thinking. You should start it as a side job and use it as a stepping stone to leave your current company later. If you feel that the company is not for you, then you just have to find a different place that you fit in. But can I really do something like that, even though I'm over 40? You taught me how to write and read and how to ride a bicycle. And also, you're the one who gave me a computer as a gift. How can a smart brother like you not succeed? I'm proud of you. Even if you don't start a side job, if you feel like you're not in the right place, then I think it's okay for you to quit your job. Tears rolled down his cheeks and he smiled at me. Within half a year, my brother quit his job and found a new job. The new company pays less than his old one, but he started to change since he started working there. The first notable change was that his protruding belly has become slimmer. According to my brother, he now pays more attention to his appearance because he has to work in sales. He used to indulge in sweets due to work-related stress, but he has completely lost his beer belly and now wears stylish suits and dress shirts. It was as if my brother, whom I was once proud to have, had come back to life. Jason, did you go on a diet? You look like you lost a lot of weight. Today again, my brother is standing in front of the cash register in the convenience store as usual. When I asked him while I was packing the yogurt he bought into a bag, he answered with a wry smile. That's not it. There were a lot of work and I have to do out of office and became like this just by walking around. Also, I became health conscious about what I eat now. I never thought that just by changing my workplace, I would change so much. Yeah, you look so lively and wonderful now. Is that so? You're like how you used to be, you know? I often hear that from Dad too. I returned a broad smile to my brother, who had a shy smile on his face. It may sound strange, but my brother is quite handsome when he's well dressed, so it's hard to believe he doesn't have a girlfriend. I have someone I want to introduce to you. What? It's been about a month since I met her at work. We've been dating, and things are going well, so we're discussing getting married soon. What? Hold on a second. It was just a moment ago that I was thinking that it was hard to believe that he doesn't have a girlfriend, but he's actually thinking about getting married. I can't keep up with this sudden turn of events. Besides, I still haven't a girlfriend yet. Can I see a picture of your girlfriend? Look, this is her. He showed me a picture on his phone. In the picture, there was a stunningly beautiful woman. She would be a perfect match for my brother. I was so taken aback that I couldn't say anything and just stared blankly. Then my brother looked at me and seemed to have gotten an idea. Do you also want a girlfriend? Well, of course I want one too, but I've never had a proper job, and I can't even hold a proper conversation with the girl I work with. When I mumbled these words, my brother confidently started talking again. We're brothers, you know. If you dress up properly, you have a face that looks good enough. I'll give you some advice so that you can transform yourself. Maybe this is his way of repaying me. It's a bit condescending. However, I am his younger brother. If I can just create a proper environment, I should be able to find a good girlfriend. I'll take you to the hair salon that I always go to over the weekend. Thank you in advance. I shouted back to his words. Both his gentle smile and his conversation with him made me feel nostalgic. I will be able to follow my brother's footsteps again from now on. I want to cherish this relationship once again.